Greetings of peace and love. My name is Ram Hotep, and I am broadcasting on behalf of 13scienceastrology.com. I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for watching. This particular special video is for the beloved mothers out there, the beloved queens out there, the beloved sisters out there, just all the beautiful women out there. Doing this video specifically, I guess you could say I have a lot of Oshun energy on me right now. I've been doing a lot of building with, a particular business partner of mine. We're getting ready to do a lot of expanding or whatever. And it's been a lot of Oshun energy present in a lot of these building sessions or whatever that I've been engaging in. So it's a lot of Oshun energy on me right now. So I felt the need to really do a video on the feminine principle and the number 13 in relationship to the feminine principle, because everybody knows we're getting ready to go into, in the next like 16 days or whatever, we'll be going into 2013. And really what's going on is like everybody's scared about the shift or whatever, and they're saying that it's the end of the world and stuff like that, but it's just the end of a world. That's what you have to remember. It's the end of a world. It's not the end of the world. It's the end of a world, and that world is basically a world of patriarchy. Now, when you talk about a patriarchal world, what you have to understand is that patriarchy is based on the left brain. You got the right brain, which is the feminine aspect, and then you got the left brain, which is the masculine aspect, or, which is the logical aspect. And in this world, we live in what's called a patriarchal world, or we live in a logical world. And basically, if things don't square up with logic and reason, then they're dismissed and they aren't accepted. But there was once a time here on this planet where we lived in what's called more of a feminine-based world. Now, when I say feminine-based world, it's not that it wasn't men and women. It's just that it was basically the way that we thought, and the part of our brain that was used mostly was the right brain at the time, or that was the most dominant part of the brain that was used at that time. Now, it's been a long time since this particular type of rulership, or I guess you could say this particular type of thinking, I should say, has been on this planet. We're talking about way back into the times of Lumeria. And for those people that don't know what Lemuria is, let me go into a little bit of that. Now, Lemuria was a civilization that was predominantly, you could say it was controlled by women. Now, let me explain to you how a civilization that's controlled by women works, because a lot of people they get it twisted. A civilization that's controlled by women, these women are very tactful, and they will have a male look as though he is the ruler, where the male is not the ruler. The female is the particular ruler. So the up front person will be a male, but then behind that male will be a female who held the power, or who held the house. So really, when you start talking about like power, like elite families and, saying like power structures and stuff like that, anybody that's really into like true, like the 48 laws of power type doctrine, like a person is really trying to like get wealth and power and keep it, they will know that the man and the male principle is always up front, but the women always control things behind the scenes. So a lot of times when you got initiated into the orders, it was really women. That's why the priests wore dresses. If you notice that, like in the priesthood, they wore, I should say they wore dresses, but they wore garments that appeared as though they were like dresses. If you look at the ancient Egyptians and things like that, they dressed more like, I guess you could say, female, because they, they wore more loose clothes and more like kind of similar to how some Muslims dress or whatever, where you basically wear your jalabil or whatever. So they had long dresses or whatever in the priesthood, and the priesthood was depicted as more of a feminine thing. And this is because originally the priesthood was feminine. A lot of people don't realize that the women were the priests and the males were the up front, or the kings, and they looked like they were ruling, but they were reporting to the priests, because anybody that knows anything about power knows that the priesthood ruled. And the kings report to the priesthood. So what's going on or whatever in Lumeria was that these particular women were the rulers of that land or whatever, and they did things based upon the right brain. So it wasn't a lot of talking. It was a lot of telepathic communication. There was no sex. There was no such thing as sex. And people are like, well, how did they have children or whatever? Well, there was a such thing as Tantra. And they used Tantra as a science to produce during that time or whatever. And I'll do a video talking about, going in depth, because that it's a science and it's out there. You can research it if you're looking for it. You can produce without having sex. You can produce tantrically. and they were doing this. And of course, in order to get initiated into that type of thing, you would have to be celibate. But this is basically how Lumeria was set up. So we're talking about a civilization that was mostly up underwater. You got to remember, Lumeria, most of that civilization, most of it was up underwater. Only part of it was on land, like an island of it was on land. But the majority of the civilization went into the water. You had to go into the water to get to that civilization. And they had crafts and ships that were constructed that are constructed specifically to go to that land, because Lemuria still exists, that civilization still exists or whatever. It's just not here in this dimension. Now, when you talk about different dimensions of the earth, I want to kind of point this out because this is something I never really went into in my other videos. The earth right now, you know what I'm saying, we can go up to 4D in a physical earth. But the earth comes from really a fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional earth. The earth that we live on, according to the occult, according to all occult schools and doctrines, the earth that we live on right now pretty much is kind of like a fallen part of a bigger earth. So basically, with this part of the earth that we call Earth is basically a fallen part of a bigger Earth. And the way it's talked about in the occult, it talks about how what's called the ecliptic. Now, a lot of people aren't going to really follow me on this, but the ecliptic is the band that the sun travels. The band that the sun travels, and the sun travels in a certain band. And that's called the ecliptic, and it goes through different star constellations. So when you talk about Aries, Gemini, Libra, that's the sun traveling the ecliptic through the different star constellations. So what happens is that the fourth dimensional earth, or the earth that we live on, the third and fourth dimensional earth, which is the earth that we live on right now, came from a bigger earth which goes up to fifth and sixth dimension or whatever, and that earth fell from the ecliptic. You know what I'm saying? So that particular earth fell from a higher planet. You know what I'm saying? So this particular earth that we live on, this particular universe, actually this particular solar system, in general, that we live in, fell from a higher civilization. So this is a lower vibrational existence from a higher vibrational state. So it's very important to understand that. So a lot of times when you talk about Lumeria, you start talking about the civilization that Lumeria had. See, their civilization was in the waters. And it didn't stop there. Their civilization was in the waters, and it went into the earth. I'm going to do a video really soon talking about, the different parts of the earth, like the center of the earth and stuff like that, and going into Shambhala and Agartha and different caverns and things like that in the earth. So I'm not going to do that here, but what I'm saying here is that when you go to Lemuria and you go into the waters, you go to another civilization. And that civilization has portals and gateways to the sixth dimensional earth, or the earth that we fell from. See, there's another earth out there, and there's portals and gateways to get to that sixth dimensional earth, which is like another civilization. And the zodiac signs, or the band, the ecliptic, or the Dendera, some people call it the Dendera, or the zodiac, and basically is that part or that region, or like a portal to get to those other worlds. And each constellation is a particular gate to get to different worlds. So I'm saying all that to say, so in Lumeria, they had access to go back to that world back and forth. So they were still, a lot of the priests and stuff like that, they were more in connection with that world. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and they would bring that information back to the waters. Then they would ultimately bring that information back to the surface of the planet. So that's what was going on with Lemuria. And during this time, it was more so the feminine principle is what dominated, because in order to really have a spiritual civilization, you have to be in tune with the right side of your brain. You have to be in tune with the feminine aspect. The way that you would go about looking at things and doing things would be more of a attraction principle, but basically, versus always going out to get. So in that civilization, they were very patient. They were very careful. They were very practical in how they did things and how they ran their civilization, because it was more like they had to attract to get. And they were very abundant during that time. So, and it wasn't until really when we got into more of a patriarchal rule, which is when, like civilization began to decline and the way that we did things changed. And the left-brained aspect of society kind of like is where the world is today. And that's the aspect of society that you have to go out and get things. Like, say, for instance, you have to go out and get a job. You have to go out to get food. You have to go out to do everything. You have to leave your home to do basically everything and bring these things back into your home. Whereas back then, it was a different concept. They were attracting. They always attracted. And they produced everything that they needed within their domicile or within their home or whatever. So that's the difference between a left-brained and a right-brained society. So what's going on is that when we get into 2013, this is the beginning. That's not going to happen quick, but this is the beginning. We're going to be at the first phases of the divine feminine, and that's what's coming back. The women will begin to shift. Like when you talk about the shift, see, people are so physical and they're like, when is the big old waterfall gonna come down and drown everybody, and when is you know what I'm saying, like they want something apocalyptic to happen, or when is the earthquake gonna happen that's gonna wipe out a third of the population. They want something like that to happen, and that's what people are looking for. But it's not about that. It's about shifting internally, and the female is shifting right now. She's shifting because she's getting prepared to go back into the state that she was in before she fell into this patriarchal society where she has to go out and wear heels to go get a job, you know what I'm saying, to go work in a skyscraper where all this gravity is pulling down on you. Like you have to realize when you work in a skyscraper or you live on a top floor, you got a bunch of gravity pulling down on you, and that creates weight on you, and that creates aging. It makes you older and it makes you tired. So you wonder why you come home so tired and wore out, is because you haven't been connecting to the earth. Your root chakra is not connected to the earth because you're working in a skyscraper, you got on hills and pumps. And I'm not talking about nobody. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm just saying this is how this civilization makes us, to where women wearing jeans and pants and, you know, looking like men so that they can, you know, like compete in this society, because that's how you got to make it to eat. So I understand that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is that that particular paradigm is failing, and it's pretty much about to be over. Pretty much about to be over. So we're going to have to reverse and shift and go back into the feminine principle. And even males are going to have to go back into the right brain. I mean, like we basically, for instance, we have these cell phones and we talk on phones all the time, right? It's going to come a time where we're going to have to go back into a principle of communicating telepathically. This is how they communicated in Lumeria and the higher civilizations. So basically, what I'm saying is that 2013 represents the return of the divine feminine, the return of the feminine principle. 2013, according to the Chinese calendar, is going to be the year of the snake. It's going to be the year of the snake, the Kundalini. See, this is the Kundalini energy that's coming back. And that energy has always been suppressed. That's why the number 13 has always been associated with karma and death and bad things and stuff like that. And that's because it's the feminine principle that's really being suppressed when you suppress the number 13. The reason why they associate a lot of negativity with the number 13 is because when males got in charge, they began to suppress the feminine principle and suppress the secret, which is the orgasm that the woman can have. That's the secret. Secrete. See, an orgasm causes moisture to come out, secretion. So that's the secret. You know what I'm saying? Or like when a male has an orgasm, because there is a male orgasm. That's the secret, the suppression of the Kundalini energy. So when you get into the number 13, you're talking about the feminine principle. And that's no coincidence that we're going to be in the year of the snake at the same time that we're in 2013, which is bearing witness from the universe that we're going into the time of the divine feminine. The feminine principle, the women will begin to shift in consciousness and will begin to clean up the planet and heal the planet. The universal mother is coming back. And a lot of people don't know what the mothers represent, because the mothers are not what you think they are. See, everybody thinks about this sweet woman, and that's one aspect of it. The Cancer aspect of the sweet mother, and she takes care of everyone and she nurtures everyone. But then there's the flip side of that, because Cancer has the yin and yang energy as its symbol. So there's another side to the mother that will essentially kill you. These are the mothers that they don't care anything about death. They're, you know what I'm saying, they basically only care about balance, and the earth staying in balance, and everything staying, basically all the energy staying grounded and everything staying a certain type of way. So these are the type of mothers that, you know, they talk about these mothers in Wicca and Ifa, but these are the mothers or whatever, and that type of energy is coming back to the planet. So I mean, you're going to start to see a lot of strong women come out here teaching and cleaning up and healing this planet or whatever. So, and I'm just proud to really be able to announce that. I mean, like when you talk about 13 signs astrology and all of that, like really 13 signs astrology is based on the whole feminine principle. The whole number 13, the whole 13 signs astrology is based on the feminine principle. And that's why it was suppressed and it was hidden. So they've been knowing about the 13th sign, but it was something that you had to be initiated high up to know how to deal with 13 sign astrology type astrology. See, don't you think, beloveds, I always try to tell people this. You think that the powers that be are going to give you the real astrology? That's why they gave you Western astrology. They're not going to give you the real astrology and the real dates and how to do the real calculations. That's a secret. that they suppressed, that the women charted the real true zodiac. The women of Lumeria had been charted the real true zodiac thousands upon thousands of years ago, before they even came out the waters, because they got that information. Because I mean, the reptilians charted and gave them the information, because reptilians traveled the zodiac. So I mean, traveled the solar system. So they were able to map this stuff because they were there. You see what I'm saying? So basically, what I'm saying is that now what's going to happen is that the women are going to stand up, and it's time for the women to rule. And I'm just really glad to have gotten 13 Signs Astrology and to teach it and do a lot of amazing things with it. But a lot of the information that I learned about 13 Signs Astrology came through a woman. So people, and that's what people fail to realize or whatever. Like, people see me up here talking, they think it's just me, but they don't realize that, again, you see a male up there. When you're dealing with the old civilization, it was always a female priesthood behind him, because of the female gave the male the power. If you research the term Isis and you go into Egypt, her name is Aset. And a lot of people don't know what Aset means. Now, I revealed this one secret here, because I'm giving out a lot, but I revealed this secret here. I mean, it's nothing major, you can look it up, but Aset means the throne, or Lord of the throne. You see, because Aset or Isis is the throne that the king would sit on, the king chair. See, a king is always seen sitting in like on a throne or a king chair. And pretty much that throne represents the woman, because the woman keeps the king in power, props the male up. So I was really blessed to get this information about 13 Signs Astrology, and was taught this information from a woman, from a female. I have female teachers and male teachers. See, a lot of males, they take things from women and they don't give women credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't do that or whatever, and then they create a lot of negative karma for themselves. But the information that I got from 13 Signs Astrology, I mean, I was already an astrologer. I already knew about Western astrology, but I didn't know anything about the Fucus and the 13 sign. I got this information from a woman way before it was being talked about on the TV and radio stations and all that. So this particular female that gave me this information decoded it. She decoded this information herself, basically. So I mean, it's pretty deep or whatever, but I'm just proud to announce, like, in 2013, like, Ram Hotep is going to be honoring the feminine principle, and in 2013 I'm going to be, like, my teacher that taught me 13 Signs Astrology is going to be doing readings on 13signsastrology.com. So, and I'm offering that basically to you guys in 2013. It's going to be about the feminine energy. You're going to see a lot of feminine energy on this channel. Not only just my teacher, you know what I'm saying, like, you're not only just going to see her, you know what I'm saying, like my teacher that taught me a lot about 13 signs and how to decode it and stuff. You're not only going to see her, but you're going to see a lot of feminine energy on this channel or whatever, because I'm telling you, it's the return of the divine feminine. It's the return of the feminine principle. We have to begin to live off of the feminine principle again. We have to begin to do things off of the feminine principle again. So that's what I'm honoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did my Papa Leg Bar ritual. You know what I'm saying? But soon we will be doing an Oshun ritual. Oshun ritual is coming soon. So, and soon come, I have to do it at a certain time. See, timing is everything or whatever. So the feminine energy is coming in or whatever. Papa Leg Bar is the gate opener. So that now basically what happens is that the feminine principle can come through, which is that love. See, Oshun represents love. And that love has to come through to heal this planet. Love is the only thing that's going to heal this planet right now. You know what I'm saying? This planet is in fear, lower base fear. And there are only two emotions, fear and love. So it's coming. Return of the divine feminine. 13 Signs Astrology Zodiac is a straight up feminine, representing the feminine energy. And that's what a lot of people don't even realize. Like, the 12 sign Zodiac is patriarchal in nature, and they removed the 13th sign because they didn't want people to know about it. This was something that was even going on in Egypt. Like, this been going on for a long time, to where in Egypt it was more like, if you weren't initiated high up, you didn't know nothing about no 13 or nothing about the number 13. It was a secret. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot about the number 13 that I don't even talk about, but it's definitely it was a secret. And it's still a secret, and that's why even when you study the numerology, they say karma, they say negative things about it, because they don't really want you to unlock the power of that number 13, because when you do that, you're unlocking the feminine principle, the Kundalini energy, which is that real power. That's the power that makes kings. That's the power that sinks empires. Women, you guys have power. Like, a woman can make a king, she can sink an empire. And really, the woman is the all-powerful, just like on the chessboard. She has more moves than any other piece. But without that king, the game is over, because a woman has power. You know what I'm saying? And just like they say, and this is not patriarchy here, so just bringing balance to this video. But I was taught this by a woman. Oshun has a lot of power, but she needs direction. She needs direction. That's what a male is supposed to come in at. Us males are supposed to give our women direction, give our women guidance. She has more moves than you. but you have to know where to send her at, where to position her, where to put her at. She'll do the rest. You just have to direct her. That's it. Now, that doesn't mean micromanage. That doesn't mean be her, you know what I'm saying, dictator, or, you know, all of that. It just means direct, assist. So that's all. So 2013, y'all, is basically the return of the divine feminine. Just doing this video just to really pay homage to the mothers, send a shout out to the mothers, and send honor to the mothers. I love you all. I really do, from the bottom of my heart, from Ram Hotep, from 13 Signs Astrology. Any mothers out there that I did anything to hurt, I apologize to you right here on this video. Any mothers out there. So that when I say mothers, you know, Ram Hotep is talking to you. Could be 5 years old and be a mother to Ram Hotep, or you could be 100 years old. So a mother is just a woman that holds a certain spirit of that divine feminine principle. So peace to the mothers. I thank you guys for listening, watching, and look out for 2013, y'all. Return of the divine principle. I'm sorry, return of the feminine principle. Peace.